Hello everyone, my name's Lorthorn, and welcome back to Minecraft's Magic Mods final episode. What are we going to do then in the final episode? Well, we're going to do this. See, I actually built a lot when doing this mod. Believe it or not, this whole section of the village, all the way over here, I built it. This church isn't actually your normal church. People kept saying I should build a church with a graveyard. I actually had them, and I kind of forgot about that. I mean, I was going to build a bigger one, but I kind of forgot to do that, and other things came up, and I had other things I wanted to do. But yeah, we got a little graveyard here, and we got a church here, which is the normal Minecraft church. Well, it's got this little addition to it, which is this room with pews and stuff. Now, back we've got like this little garden and a big old stone cross in it, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, we had quite a few guardhouses sprinkled about here and there. And we had this huge defense here, actually. This wall set up here. A whole bunch of guards are trapped outside the wall. They want to get food. There should be food in here. We have this like whole setup though. Giant blood fountain. Kind of disgusting. It was built though for another purpose, which was the skeleton farm. We had a fort here. We just had actually a huge amount of things built all around this place. Watchtower here. See when invaders come. A little wall here. I did actually even a little more than the walls. We had these little caves and sally points for our soldiers to hide in and jump out to attack enemies. That was another thing we built, or I built. Did a lot of this off screen. It's just like a little hobby of like building this defense around my whole kingdom. Now there's a little watchtower there. Sort of left it to natural defenses, this big open field. This city I didn't build. I say it got built. But still, pretty cool. Built a wall here. Just this big wall in the middle of nowhere. And over here there was this outpost, basically. There's actually a little camp up here. I'm basically showing off things that I didn't really show off. So there's this camp up here for some people to stay around. It's a whole way to get up the mountainside, this bridge and this like ridiculously convoluted path. Got this weird pit here. This pit was like a defensive point, and then there's a little bed chamber in here for a bunch of guards to hang out, this cave. One of their hideouts, another one up here, so if people came along, they could like come out and shoot arrows at them. Then, of course, there's the natural defense of this cliff, so nothing there, but I put a fort right here. The dragon cave, which is full of molten gold and fire. Treasures. And over here, we had another little guard outpost, so they can basically like be aware and shoot arrows, and just a random pit here. Make it a little hard to traverse that area. Natural wall here. Nice defense is offered by it. The upper dragon caves. There's a little wall back here. Another outpost. I carved down the mountainsides, made them more defensive. More outposts were put in. Here's a little gate, basically. I had some thoughts, basically, of building a little path up here. So there's like these little guard things, and this would have led up to the garden thing I was going to make. That I never went ahead and made. Still getting around the outside. I want to cover the outside. These guys all fell off here for various reasons, but this was actually an outpost of shooting arrows, having a lookout. A little ladder here, more lookout. Here's their little shelter, and here's a better lookout tower, little signal tower. Then over here, here's another outpost. You can shoot arrows down. There's a wall of fire with this gatehouse here. So this is another way in. This gatehouse had the natural defense of, or not natural, but defense of pouring down a lava gate. So that's a part of it. There's a few guard outposts just like in here. There's a cave here, so these guys actually still are pretty content with their food. Well, we give them a lot. Also, we don't come near them very often, but so that's one of the little outposts. I think there's one right here. Goes into the mountainside, comes up somewhere near over here. A little lookout. I don't think I actually put a lookout all the way out here. Maybe I should have. Didn't seem entirely necessary. So many. Then there's this wall here with this absolutely massive fort. And then it came down to another little wall here. Natural defenses of the Norman village. And that's basically covered defenses. Okay. Let's look at the other things I built. Oh, there's some cool stuff. The lighthouse. The little bloodstone lighthouse. My decorative thing, which I had filled with villagers. It was actually rather ghastly if you think about what it was. There was so many villagers in here. This was for the vampirism series, and then it's like decorations of villagers. I think I collected most of them actually. But there's constantly ghosts getting in here and killing the villagers, and yeah, no, place of horrors actually this. To a certain point, it was one of the most disturbing things I built until I started building a few other things. The workshop! Oh, I love the workshop. This big dome building with all these wires and stuff going on, the grinder in it. I was so determined to build a grinder. I did it. Gosh darn it. It certainly grinds things. Boom. Bone meal. Yeah. Of course I need ridiculous sums of power to get that working. And got the old computer, endstone portal, and this crazy electrical system, which comes out on the power tower. My windmill. I love this thing. How it's like, okay, this is a little weird, these windmills, and then the structure just keeps going up. And there's more windmills on the outside. I built this frame. I was like thinking of building something more up here. Never did. But then there's just like this ridiculously convoluted wire frame going throughout this whole tower to get the power going. Which is just great. The wizard tower I specifically built just for doing like magic mods and stuff right here. I built it and I didn't do anything with it, and I was like, hey, let's do wizardry. And like magic mods, and like this wizard tower is perfect. All the bookshelves, testing room down here I barely used. This is such a good wizard tower. I really like this build actually, like the bookshelves, and I actually managed to fill a good amount of the larger base rooms with something. I never got something in this room, which is a shame, but the room right after it was like the main study chaos room. Probably could have moved some stuff downstairs. Then there's nothing continuing going up until we get to the power going on throughout the outside, but I'm going to go all the way to the top first. Kind of actually built it like the tower of Saruman, except it's white instead of black. But yeah, this whole ridiculous tower. Okay, coming down here goes to the power, which charges these furnaces, and then the big old smeltery. The wall of fire, basically the bridge to the dragon gate. That's what I sort of thought in my head. So this tower here, we're going to turn it to day so we can get a better view. This tower here is actually based off the tower from Heroes of Might and Magic 2, where you get the black dragon from. So this is actually based off something. It's just to signify the dragons live here. Okay, the fortress, the fort. Actually, no, let's go over here. The failed cow killer. This device was a thought, it was a plan. Trust me, it was not a good plan. My thoughts were for lava to drop down, incinerate the cows, for us to farm them in this little pen. It's very slow to fall and incinerates the meat. Absolutely terrible idea. Well, that's falling. We've got the little cow breeding cave, which was my thought basically of stifling the breeding, so all these cows would be in here and breed and grow up, then they come out here on this conveyor belt. Yeah, this is such a bizarre way to kill cows. And then there was this thing, so the cows eventually would get bored of being all stuck together. Some would wander, come down here, wha-bam! And they get processed. There's actually even a little bit more to this whole thing, because I made like a viewing station so you could watch the cows fall by. Needed more glass in it, but I just like the idea. Few more side things, but okay, yeah, this over here. So I actually put a little wall here. Had like this little wall here, and we had the hidden hot springs. I never really did much with it, but we had a hot springs here. See, it's like got lava down there. It's like meant to be this natural hot springs, but I made it. And there was a secret passage here, which led into my mine shafts. So there's like two different ways into the mines through these secret passages. And man, I built all these things. Actually, I wanted to take appreciation of the landscape I did. So I like add this little bridge here across this chasm, which I thought was nifty, just like the roads I built. And I made this winding road go to all the villagers, this little stone path. I like the idea of like a spooky vampire mansion. It turned into a more freaky, weird, mad scientist thing. I was kind of trying to go Castlevania, it didn't really work out. Got like this little bridge here, and there's actually this tunnel down here. We should go by the bridge. This led into like a cave system here. It's got like this little hidden cave, kind of one of like random crypts and stuff going on. There's a few more, like there's some caves there, there's a cave system there. They covered up one of my cave entrances, but I actually had my chicken cave, I believe. One of the 2 entrances into the chicken cave. Yeah, did you know I had a chicken cave? Some of the older watchers might, but not all the new ones. I've got like this really weird room that's got like 3 cockatrices in it, and a room full of chickens. And I got all the cockatrices just by farming these chickens, which is absolutely hilarious. So I had like this random, horrible factory farming chicken cave, which I was actually kind of proud of this design. It's so dumb looking, but it's so good at the same time. Okay, so that's one of the exits. This was actually going to be a storage zone for, whatchamacallit, Ancient Warfare, but I couldn't get it figured out until much later, until it's too late, and Ancient Warfare is also a really weird mod that's hard to use. But I love like the idea of a winding staircase up to the vampire's manor. So that's what this was. It's like sort of winding, crazy path you could get up. But there's also this little secret passage, so the vampire didn't have to walk all the way up. They could just run along here and get to their den. Because when I was playing vampirism, I had this den in here, this little sleeping area. I like slept in there for ages. And that's the actual home. This is like a false front. It was more like a vampire's cabin on a mountainside that then just had a ridiculous amount of additions added to it. Let's be honest. Oh, should have made some big imposing building. Instead we got this. I won't change it though. It looks so good. Even the inside of the power tower. Like the power tower looks so good. This like weird cubby here is great. But okay, the main building. The building where it all started with Minecraft vampirism. So in here we've got the crazy workshop cabin of millionaire ancient warfare, trying to feed dragons, just storage and stuff, and vampirism. And that led down this little weird corridor thing I had built, which leads out into here. And it's like this sort of stairway thing is an addition. This crypt actually used to be all by itself. This was a crypt also sort of inspired by Heroes of Might and Magic 3, but also just sort of my own idea. And in here is where the vampire leveling up happened. And there's actually, let's get some night vision. Actually, all the way to the bottom here, we had the arena where we could fight elder vampires, which was kind of fun. But yeah, so we have this whole structure here. Most of this was built with night vision. Then we've got the villager fridge, which I made, which villagers were meant to go in there. Oh, yep, electricity sucks, doesn't it, big man? Then we had the corridor, of the bloody corridor with the broken weird mirrors. And for some reason, just a tower? And I don't know where I was going with this. And then back over here, we actually, before this big old tower was here, we could have turned this into a nice little garden spot. It could have been like this sort of chill winter garden to relax in. With the blood fountain. It's kind of dark. Okay. Now we've got the library. The library has actually more than one entrance, believe it or not. And we are going to get so lost in here. Okay. So the library is illuminated by magic lights. And it's I made a bit of a parallel maze in here. So here are like the offices, because I always sort of like the idea of libraries having offices, so add some like studies, I guess, inside. And so there's like 2 of the studies, then you can go up the stairs, and in here is like this little cubby with more studies in it, more office utility. Little room in here. It's all very red, very cramped though. It's far too cramped. I wish I kind of made it a little bit bigger. Here's way to the 2nd floor. I'm not going to go there just yet. And then if you kept going up the stairway, you got to the TARDIS room, which is where I banished one of the TARDISes to. I wanted to have it transport, but it's like this extra little library room up there, which I just think is neat. I love libraries as well. Down here, I wondered about here once as a little joke when I got high. And that's why there's a toilet installed there. But we have the blood pool. Just a random pool full of blood in the library. Because it's a vampire library, right? So sometimes you just gotta indulge yourself. Then we've got over here the upstairs, so the extension to the library, which is the stacks. I love the idea of the stacks in libraries. We got a little balcony out here, which could have looked on a really nice garden. I'm kind of saddened with myself that I never went and built it, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Maybe on my own time, but it's going to be for me. Yeah, so we got the stacks here. And I spent so much time actually getting a variety of books, even though we spent no time in here. I actually like mixed up the books and changed them so it wouldn't all be uniform, and like designed and crafted and thought about it. And there's this obsidian pillar actually. It like goes straight through the floor here. Sort of this idea, it's like big sharp of stair and that was carved into a natural sort of staircase. And you can go and like find more books along here and sort of weave around and grab them. But if you keep going up this shard, you get into the sort of like, I don't know, university people hanging out together like, oh yes, talking. Oh yes, talk. Oh yes, I do enjoy talking here as well. Oh yes, I do like libraries. And there's like this little window out here. Because if we go through the roof here, that'll just be the simplest thing. I had these sort of like windows just for that overall looking design. I really like the way the library turned out. I think it's one of my favorite buildings that I've made. This here was actually going to be an extra tower with more library stuff, and there's going to be like a little walkway out here, but I never finished building it. So yeah. I also built this whole thing while watching internet historian videos, so it was a little weird to do. Now there's something else in the library, which you probably know about. I've been in it plenty, but there's some bits of it you don't know. So this here is the storage. So in here is a massive freaking dragon skull. And this was meant to be like an artificery. It's also like a sort of wine room. This was what the blood was meant to be, like those blood stacks. And then I wanted like more rooms coming off here, basically. Never went ahead and built those. Over here is another like collection room. This is going to be a big old collection room, and it turned into my horrible mad scientist laboratory where I tortured villagers and subjected them to worshipping me. That was fun. I collected all these villagers from these things here, which was originally cobblestone there, so they're like a fine collection of snacks for a vampire to drink from. And then here I want to have like some extra special villager. So, yes, there's that. But you may have noticed something a little odd about the wine cellar, or blood cellar, we can call it wine, which is this extension to the library. And it's this whole room made of books, which led down into a chanting room, which I kept forgetting about. But I also wanted to fill this whole corridor here, like take away all the stone and fill it with books, and have this insane maze going on in this place. Absolutely like nutty maze of just books that you could get lost in, because I'm a really big fan of what is it called? Name of the Wind and the other thing. What is it? Name of the Wind and the Wise Man Fears. And they've got this ridiculous, crazy, dangerous library that's just full of like underground tunnels. And so that's why my library actually leads into the Dragon Cave. So that's one of the places it leads, so you can accidentally stumble into dragons when going through the library was the thought. And I think the other one you could stumble into, there's a mana pool, which you could end up finding, which also led to the Dragon Cave, which is like, oh, cool, mana cave. And I believe there's the pit. You can fall into a weird random tunnel system. So if you're not careful, it's like someone wondering about musing deep into a book, and then they just wander into a hole, because I'm sadistic. And I just like the idea of that for some reason. And this way here was like some columns, basically so you can't hold your left hand against the wall. It's a pitiful attempt at that, but that is actually the reason for doing that. It's basically, you should have it bigger. Okay, here it is, I believe. Yeah, so sort of open space carved through the mountain. And there's actually a secret passage out into this old stone circle right near the Norman village, which I want to like have leaving out of the library. So there's like a secret way into the library, into the vampire's castle. Also, I want to keep building a vampire's castle, like build more here, have this tower built, build more here, build more there, just like have it keep growing and growing, start building on top of it, but I also really like the way it looked without building on top of it, and so I sort of stuck with that design. And I believe that is basically the tour. Oh yeah, we have this fortress here which I built, which never really had much go for it, but it was just so, it was an armory and it became where all my weepers hang out, or flogulms. But yeah, that was Minecraft's Magic Mods, and that is this for this world. We're done with this place. We have a few other farm stuff. We have the weird sheep machine farm, which I think is brilliant. We had this castle, which I spent ages taking over. We had the dragons we had to fight, the field, the Norman village. Did I spend like a year here? Have I spent a year in this world? Holy cow. That's really something to think about. Well, if you've been with me for even part of this, it's like, geez, thanks, that's really cool. Kind of sad to see this world go, but I think it's for the best. I mean, I'm always going to keep a hold of it and keep this mod pack in the state it is, but I'm done recording in this world. I'm done playing in this world. But it was really cool. Yeah, I didn't think I'd actually tear up thinking about that, but I am. Man. Thank you for watching. And until next time, goodbye.